What do you think has been the most unexpected good surprise for you with homeschooling? Something you never expected to find when you started?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think just how much the one is, and it's really not about my kids, it's about myself, how much I have learned. One of the things with BJU Press Homeschool, which we have chosen, is they teach you the why. And I actually have a master's in taxation, so I have a math background. But teaching my kids math with BJU Press Homeschool has really taught me the why. And I can tell you, all through my school, I never understood the why. Once recently, my son asked, "Well, why didn't you subtract negatives? You add one." And I remember looking at him and going, "Because that's what you do. You just put a plus plus and we move on." And he goes, "But why?" And I sat there and I thought, I would have never ever asked that in any of my public school classes. One, we didn't have time. Two, you didn't question it. And so I have learned the why behind so much math theory that I have an advanced degree in that I never knew and never even knew that I could question, if that makes sense, because you learned it, this is how you did it, and you moved on. I think it was shocking in 4th grade English when I realized that maybe the way I was writing wasn't always the correct way. My boys laugh at that. I've learned a lot, but how much I have learned and been able to show my boys of, mom didn't know that. And I'm learning that too. And I think that has been really surprising and fun all in the same way.
I do love what you said about how much we really do grow as people when we're homeschooling. The things you learn, the barriers you're confronted with, working outside of your comfort zone, all of and those are all lessons you teach your children in the process too.
You do. You do, and they see that it's not always comfortable, and I really try to tell them a lot that, I don't always know all the answers. I try to find out. I'm trying to get as much data and, figure it out, but sometimes I don't know all the answers, and that's okay.
I've got a really good friend, Deb Bell, who got her PhD in educational psychology after she finished homeschooling her four. And one of the things she told me is that in a classroom, the teacher generates the questions. But when you're home, you really want your kids to generate the questions. And that's what you're seeing happen. And that's really what we want. We want our kids to be so interested in the material that they're asking the questions. I was online the other night just looking up articles and books on critical thinking for students. And it's amazing the dearth that educators see in the lack of critical thinking skills in our kids, especially with the advent of screen time. And but I think you're so right, and I'll let you comment on this. But BJU Press, that's one of the things that it is so well known for is its ability to lead your children into a path and a habit of critical thinking.
I can't agree more, and just the why questions, and I feel like it does a really good job of teaching them even how to ask those whys. What is that next question? And I always think that's always the thing. You know the first question to ask, but maybe just those next and those follow-up questions, and it just teaches them, just whether it's a writing prompt or and a math, we were doing math the other day, and I thought it was an interesting question. Do you prefer to use a fraction form or a decimal form? And my husband happened to be walking through, and we all 4 kinda sat down and talked about it, and we have 4 widely different answers, um, all getting the correct answer, but 4 widely different ways to do it, and I was like, "Oh, I never thought about doing that and that," and that was a really interesting just topic to find that we all live in the same house, we do the same activities, but we think very differently.
And, I really do think that's a power point of homeschooling is that kids can develop their own interest. And even if you're looking at the same book, they'll each have different questions and each have different lines of thought or interests that they'll go down, whether it's a literature book, whether it's a living book, whether it's, whatever it is, everybody's going to bring something different to the table and get something different out of a lesson.
Absolutely.